Four men battling for gold. Three have previously landed quadruple jumps in competition. One has not. Tonight, the quads are ready to blast off.
Go. Count 3. Go. Intake. Go. Econ. Go. Launch commit. Go.
He hasn't done this in competition since 1992. And he does it! The quad show right here. And he does it!
History has been made in Hamilton. Four men, four chances at gold. Four rotations could determine the world champion in Switzerland. The dance continues tonight. Three-time world champions Grishuk and Platov lead the way, while fellow Russians Krylova and Ovsyannikov hold down second after compulsories. Canada's Born and Kratz are in third, and they're hungry for more. But right behind, two French teams giving chase. Anasina and Pezerov, Monyac and Lavanche get ready for the original dance. CTV Sports brings you to the magnificent Lausanne, Switzerland for the 1997 World Figure Skating Championships. The pairs medals awarded last night. Tonight, the men go for gold. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rod Black, and welcome back to the Worlds. Before we get to tonight's show, let's bring you an update on Scott Hamilton. As many of you have heard, Scott Hamilton, the former Olympic and world champion, has been diagnosed with testicular cancer. Scott has left the Stars on Ice tour. He has returned home. He will soon undergo chemotherapy. Now, Scott apparently is in good spirits. He says he will overcome his latest setback. And naturally, the skating world sends its best wishes and its thoughts to the former Olympic and world champion tonight. Now, tonight here in Lausanne. And one man will attempt to do Barb Underhill, but Scott Hamilton did 4 times in the 1980s, and that is win the world title. Canada wants to know, does Elvis Stojko have a shot?
Well, it is possible, but it won't be easy. He'll need some help. Elvis will have to win the long program here tonight, and others will have to make mistakes. Urmanov will have to be third or lower. So that means Elvis has to go for absolutely everything out here tonight. He's got to fight for it. And by the way the event was judged in the short program, it's obvious that he's going to need something extra. And what that means is the quad triple.
I'm really excited, maybe more so than any other event before, because 8 to 9 men will try the quad tonight. The men later, the dance first, the original dance. Let's bring in Tracy Wilson. Tracy, like you and Rob McCall in the 1980s, Shailene Bourne and Victor Kratz are the favorites here for Canada. What are their chances?
Well, like them and like us, they're behind the Russian teams. And the original dance today is the tango. That favors the Russian teams. It's a very dramatic dance with sharp and snappy movements. Now, Shailene and Victor have a soft, fluid style, so that means they have to try that much harder to get the character of the dance across. Realistically, it's going to be very difficult for Shailene and Victor to move up in this portion. What they have to do is stay with the Russians today so that they can overtake them tomorrow.
Okay, so the original dance still to come from Lausanne in just a few minutes. We'll have the men's free skate later tonight. But first, let's get an update from Rob Faulds.
Rod, some tragic news rocked the skating world here in Lausanne earlier today. Just before noon Swiss time, renowned coach Carlo Fassi collapsed, suffering a massive heart attack. He died a few hours later. Fassi, a renowned coach for making skaters better than they were before. For example, Olympic champions Peggy Fleming, Dorothy Hamill, John Curry, and Robin Cousins. He was here in a coaching capacity with 2 skaters, Romania's Cornel Gheorghe and American Nicole Bobek. At this afternoon's practice in the rink next to the Malley Sports Center, Nicole Bobek continued her daily routine. It was the most difficult of her life.
Just a moment. Here is how it stood after the compulsories. The world champions, Grishuk and Platov, followed by their countrymen, Krylova and Ovsyannikov, very close between 2 and 3. Shaylin Bourne and Victor Kratz right behind. Then the two French teams, Anacina and Pézerin, Mongnot and Lavanchet, and then Huntselen and Swallow of the United States. Here's what we'll show you tonight. Krylova, Ovsyannikov, Grishuk, Platov, Bourne and Kratz, and then finally Anacina and Pézerin. Earlier today on Afternoon Picks, you saw the original dance of the other Canadian dance team. 15th a year ago at the Worlds in Edmonton. This is Chantal Lefebvre and Michel Brunet. They were very happy with their performance. They had mid-range 4 marks. They're trying to keep their position. And when we come back, the original dance of Bourne and Kratz and the rest at the 97 Worlds in Lausanne. In second position after the compulsories, a team that's trying to recover from a second-place finish to Shaylin Bourne and Victor Kratz at the Champion Series final. Second in the world last year in Edmonton. Angelika Krylova, Oleg Ovsyannikov.
What sets this program apart from the others is the way in which they combine the sharp and snappy movements with the slow, soft movements. Very, very subtle and unique. Watch the way she uses her feet. She pays total attention to detail, and her feet are almost as graceful as her hands. That's not easy when you're wearing skates.
They are passionate, demonstrative. They tango like the way it was meant to be tangoed. Krylova, Ovsyannikov, the team that Bourne and Kratz have their sights on, the team they must catch.
Angelika and Oleg perform that dance with passion. It's going to be very, very tough to beat. But I love the subtleties of the dance. Watch here. Slow, fluid movement, and then snap.
He plays the role perfectly, doesn't he?
Yes, and he gives in to her every now and then, but he's definitely the dominant one. Very well skated. The program built throughout. It got faster and faster. I did notice it was a little scratchy at the end.
Look at the marks. There is some room for Grishuk and Platov, perhaps Bourne and Kratz.
And technically, you could see some snow flying from his blades. That means he's not entirely comfortable.
Presentation marks.
And they should go up. I think this was performed with just the right amount of expression and character. Not over the top. Very convincing.
So Krylova and Ovsyannikov move into first.
Russia.
Here they are, the world champions, Oksana Grishuk and Evgeny Platov of Russia.
At the recent European Championships, they were awarded 6 perfect marks for this dance. The last time an original dance got that many 6s at the Europeans was in 1984, Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean. This is a street tango.
Everything that this team has touched in the last 3 years has been gold. They have been unbeatable.
But they haven't touched the audience because emotionally, they just haven't reached out to the audience and to each other. I felt that that program was definitely on the right track. I think it's probably the best thing they've ever done because emotionally, they did give of themselves. They now work with Coach Tatiana Tarasova, who I've known for many years because she was the coach of Besyanova and Buchan, 4-time world champions and Olympic champions. She strives to bring out the emotion from her skaters. She was great with Besyanova and Buchan. And Oksana reminds me of Natalia Besyanova when she skates right now.
The only thing that's been able to slow, or that has slowed this team down, knee problems this last year for Evgeny. They only competed at the Europeans, were not at the Champion Series, did not compete in any Champion Series events. However, you knew they were going to be prohibitive favorites whenever they did come back.
There's Tatiana Tarasova. I think she's going to work magic with these teams, this team. I hope she does. Personally, I favored Krylova and Ovsyannikov. I thought it was slicker. I love the subtleties and the nuances of the way they worked the music. But I have a feeling the judges are going to give this great marks. A lot of speed.
That is such a trademark of Russian dancers, isn't it?
Especially these two. I think it's at the expense of neatness and finesse.
Shaylin Bourne and Victor Kratz will skate next. Is this team the Torvill and Dean of the 90s? Are they even close?
I don't think so, no. Those are big skates to fill. But they can keep improving, and I think they will with their new coach.
A 5.7 from the Australian judge. 5.9s. 5.7 from the Canadian judge.
They are moving so quickly and frantically that sometimes you think they're doing a lot.
Now presentation marks a 6.0. A 6.0 on the board. The Canadian judge has given them a second-place ordinal, but Grischuk and Platov are the leaders.
Shailene Bone, Victor Kratz, Canada.
This is the moment we have been waiting for. The original dance of Shailene Bone and Victor Kratz, 5-time Canadian champions, bronze medal last year. Will they make it to the podium? Will their medal color change?
You will see two types of tangos today, the Argentine and the Continental. This is the only Continental, and the difference is it's more soft and subtle, like they're skating. Choosing this music, the impact just isn't as striking. But what it does do is it does set them apart, because we've only seen the rough and tumble Argentine type tango. More subtle, and this is more refined.
Well, from my seat, it looked pretty good, but I'll ask the expert. What do you think?
Extremely well skated, Rod. It was very good. It was a soft sell. Will it make the impact? That's the question. At the 80-80 Olympics, Rob and I also had to do a tango, and we chose, like Shay and Vic, a continental tango. It was extremely hard to make that impact with it. I felt they skated it very well. As always, they have good edges. Here's a look at their expression. If there's one area in their skating, this is what they need to work on. They need to broaden their range of emotion. I don't think there's an unkind or arrogant bone in either of their bodies, and that's what you have to get across in this dance. And here's a look at Krylova and Ovsyannikov. And yes, this looks over the top. Remember, she is playing right up to the top row in this building, and that's what makes the impact.
So developing a character, perhaps, being that character. And like you mentioned, these kids are the classiest, likable kids.
Well, these guys love to skate, and they can't get that smile off their face.
Let's see what the judges think. And this will be very important, setting up tomorrow's free dance. They were second after the original dance at the Champion Series. Behind Krylova and Ovsyannikov, they were able to win the Champion Series.
And they had 3 judges in that portion of the competition. This panel right now, Victor actually has talked about the panels and how you get an East-West conflict of former Soviet countries against the Western countries. Well, the panel has been drawn for this event. It'll stay for the OD and the free dance, different from the compulsory dances. It weighs heavily in the Canadians' favor. 6 Western judges to 3 of the Eastern Bloc.
Here we go.
Canada, first mark, 5-6, 5-7.
5-6s, 5.8. The Canadian judge,
5-7.
the high, 5.5 from the Australian judge. 5-9 from the Canadian. Canada's judge, John Greenwood, has given them a first-place ordinal. There are 3 fourth-place ordinals, 4 fourth-place ordinals, a second, and the rest are thirds. So a very mixed reaction from the judging panel for Shailin Bourne and Victor Kratz, our Canadian champions. After the original dance, Grishuk and Platov lead the way. Krylova, Ovsyannikov second, Canada's Shailin Bourne and Victor Kratz in third place, the same place they were a year ago in Edmonton when they captured the bronze medal. And the other Canadian team, Chantal Lefebvre and Michel Brunet, are currently 20th. Let's join Ryan take center stage in Lausanne, Switzerland. Tonight, Lausanne will be Quad City.